Hey guys, Crafty here from Living in Beta, and we are back with another addition to our farming route mini-series, focusing on the hottest holiday destination in Night City, Pacifica. As mentioned before, these will take a bit more time than your usual exploit, and are not meant for those who are wanting things quicker than a schoolboy realizing that the lyrics to the classic Black Eyed Peas song My Humps isn't about camels and starts to pitch a tent.
I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It
Gets the people going.
But they do come with the added benefit of getting you XP, street cred, attribute XP, and tons of dollar, with the only blocker being the time you're willing to commit. So without further ado, let's put on our trunks and head down to the beach. Now, before we get into the route itself, of course, it's important just to run through the few things that we need to think about when picking a farming route. Now, of course, the difficulty is a massive thing, as we said before. You want to choose a difficulty that is not only easy for you to do the route on, but also gives you the most bang for your buck. I'm going to do this route on very hard for you, just to show you what the maximum amount of XP you can get is. I haven't tried any routes lower than normal, so I can just tell the XPs from then on. But on normal, you get an average of 7 XP per kill. On hard, it's around 11 XP per kill. And then very hard, I've noticed 11 XP, but I've also noticed upwards of 15 to 20 XP per kill. So pick the one that gives you the most bang for your buck, but also bear in mind that difficulty is going to make it harder to do the route. So make sure the level you're doing it on is beneficial to what you're going to be doing, right? And then, of course, you need to be caring about the location itself. Now, we're of course going to be using the Pacifica area, which has good spawn rates for enemies and has the ability to expand the route itself, because lots of enemies spawn in different locations. So we'll be doing a basic route that covers around this area. But as you guys may know, the beach areas to Pacifica is fantastic because more enemies spawn there. And even upwards of the road here, or in the little cul-de-sacs in between buildings here, lots of enemies spawn, which means you can expand the route and add more to your journey. It might take more time when doing this, but you do get more bang for your buck as well, because enemies itself will spawn nicely in a route that's easy to stick to. You're not going out your way to pick this up. And then the other thing to bear in mind, I will turn this on just so you can see, but the other thing to bear in mind is what kind of things are on your route. You know, we spoke about having vendors or drop points in previous videos, and this really does give you the benefit on this route. You can see you've got a clothing vendor here, a melee weapon build vendor here. There is a ripper dock around here. Of course, I just haven't got it on the filter. And there's a weapon shop here. If you're a character that's not got crafting or doesn't have many materials, you can go here, not only sell your items, but also buy the ammo and things you need to continue the route. On this run through on this character, we'll be using a shotgun. So that's very paramount for us to be doing that. But just bear in mind, it makes it easier because then on your route, you're maximizing the amount of eddies you get or materials you get by doing it on the route, right? Now, of course, most things you don't have to worry about because I'm going to show you now. So what you want to do starting point wise, I like to start on the corner here of the clothing store. Just nice and easy starting point. You'll see there's enemies here. Again, we're doing it on very hard. I'm going to be using the new shotgun you get from completing all the gigs for, I think, from Padre, maybe El Capitan. We'll pop off the enemies. I have to be a bit more cautious just because we are, of course, on very hard. My character is high level, though, and all attributes in shotgun, so we don't have to worry. You'll pick off the enemies on the corner. Most of the time, these police officers will come out of this clothing store here. They don't aggro the police, though, which is good. Then you want to take a left up the stairs here and make your way around. There is going to be some enemies at the top here. It's worth picking off because they're very close. You are going to aggro some enemies across the walkway, though. Which you may as well pick off now just because they're going to be annoying you on your route. So run down here, make sure you've got some good cover, and then dispatch of them the best you can. Again, you can use any weapon. Previous videos we've used blades or mono wires and things like this. Choose a weapon that's best for your character, really, because you get the more bang for your buck in terms of power, because obviously you've doubled down into those attributes, right? Shotgun is just how we're rocking on this character. So once you've come up the stairs and picked off those, you want to take a left and go through here. There may be a random encounter spawn that happens here. So you can pick that off. It is there, but it's not there for us. Take off the barbecue goers here, making sure you dispatch of them easy. One thing that is good about this route is you haven't got a lot of enemies with guns. They're mostly melee builds, right? Which means they're easier to dispatch if you've got weapons. Now, those of you who spent a lot of time in Pacifica, you'll also know there's a gig down here for the animals. You can clear it out and then make that as part of your route if you like. Not many enemies spawn down there though, and it's very inconsistent, so I don't like to use it. So you'll kill the enemies at the barbecue and take a left here. you'll notice a couple of other random encounters happening. I'm not going to kill these because these will spawn the cops, but you could dispatch a net watch here. And there's also a random encounter that happens here as well. For some reason it's not, it doesn't look like it's spawned. The geezer's just got his hands up, but you could kill them as well. Without doing those though, you'll just take a right and pick off these 3 enemies down this kind of alleyway area. Making sure you get rid of these. The cool thing about this as well though, we have just aggroed that robot, but we'll leave it. The cool thing about Pacifica is the enemies that spawn are really to do with what choices you make in the Maptan Palon quest, where you choose to side with you know, the Voodoo Boys or Netwatch. And also, depending on how far you are through the game, you'll notice on the route there'll be some spawns that happen or may not happen on your run through, which does make this a very unique and iconic area to do it on. With these group of people having a chinwag about how big their bike is, we'll drop a grenade, set them alight, and then finish them off with a good old shotgun. Again, you can dispatch of these however you want. This might be a good place to do that whole detonate grenade achievement, which could be pretty cool. Around here there is, of course, as well, some more enemies on the sofa. Again, watching Living in Beta like they always do. Nice for them to show up. Dispatch of these as well. Sometimes there's some enemy spawns over here. They do a bit of sparring, or they're doing their old phone jobby. We're not going to go down there though, because it doesn't look like they spawned. The first encounter that happens that's not consistent does happen down here. If you go down this alleyway here, there will be some enemies to take out. We're not going to do it because they're not there every time, but just bear in mind you can do that. If you also hop the fence here, sometimes enemies spawn on the side like you see here. You can pop off. These are not consistent as well, but I always like to check. They're there more than they're not, and they definitely don't disappear every time, so it's worth picking them off. So pick those off there, and then jump the fence here across the road, and you'll see some enemies on the corner. Would it be dispatching of these as well? Good thing about these enemies as well, they're very they don't know you're coming, right? So things like cold-blooded, ninjutsu, sneaking all gets that actual XP up pretty highly. Annihilation's gone up there as well by 424, which is solid. You see there, ninjutsu and cold-blooded went up as well. So make your way down here and take a left, hop the fence and dispatch of these 3 people. I will say in the Pacifica area there is lots of pedestrians or NPCs that do like to cross your path. Just bear that in mind, because it's very easy to get the cops on you, and it makes it hard to lose the stars if you're doing the route. We'll then continue through here. Now another kind of inconsistent spawn will happen just over here. I'm not going to dispatch of them just because it might not happen for you, but you can see there's a party going there. That might not be there for you, so just bear that in mind, but it does pop up for me due to what I've done in game. Usually I've noticed it's because of how high level you are, and there's some spawns around here as well, but because they're not consistent, we'll move on. You want to take a right and go down these steps, and take a right when you're down these steps as well. You'll notice that some beachgoers may be to kill over here. There's usually a vehicle on the beach. There's usually a gig over there as well that you can pick off. So if you are doing this for the first time, make sure you clean up everyone you can. We'll take a right and go through the shrubbery. Go past these geezers and pick up the 3 people that are on the stairs here. Popping them off. Again, getting the jump on them, which allows you to not only benefit from perks that get a benefit from, you know, sneaking up on enemies, but you also get that added benefit of cold-blooded every time. You'll then come up the stairs. Sometimes there's a spawn here of 2 vehicles and some enemies. Doesn't seem to happen for me, but it has happened before, so just bear that in mind. You've then got 3 enemies here. These are ones where NPCs do come across your path, so just bear that in mind. Easy to pick up the cops here, right on the very end of your route. Pick those off. Ninjutsu going up, classic little perk point. And then on your right hand side, you've got a geezer here. Sometimes he's sat inside the store, but you can open the door and then aggro him. He has got a big old light machine gun though, so bear that in mind. Make sure you've got enough ammo to dispatch of him quickly. And then take a right and you've got 3 enemies here that you can pick off and do your damage to however you fancy. This shotgun's powerful, isn't it? Enjoying it. And then of course, once again, you'll make your way back round to the corner you're at, and the enemies have respawned. Now of course I haven't looted the enemies as I didn't in previous videos, just for the sake of time. But make sure you loot enemies and utilize the stores that are around you. You've got a melee weapon store there you can sell stuff at. And just around this corner here, which you can embrace the route, onto your route, sorry. It's a Second Amendment store, as we all know and love, which allows you to sell weapons and buy ammo, etc. if you need to as well. Super simple and effective. And as I said, there's lots of places on the map that you can add on to this route. So we went round here and come down here. Once you're down here, you could decide to go onto the beach if you want to and work your way across the beach. Maybe go through the little buildings here, make your way up to Grand Imperial Mall, and then make your way down here and continue the route as I did. You can really expand the area depending on how much time you want to take and how many enemies you want to pick off in one route. I recommend playing around with the Pacifica area really, because there's lots of spawns in lots of places and they're consistent every time. And by the time you've done one loop, you're always going to have enemies back. I mean, you saw it took us, what, 6 minutes to get around that route? That's with me talking and doing it slow. And enemies have already respawned next to the clothing as well. So yeah, just bear that in mind. A classic one, obviously an area that you can't get to Act 2, and enemies can be a little bit higher level, so bear that in mind when you come down here, if you come down here early on. But again, utilize the difficulty and use what's best for you. If you start on normal and then make your way up to very hard once you're flexing, then do that. There's no problems at all with that. So yeah, let me know down below how you like this route. Let me know if there's any other enemies we could have seen or missed on the route itself, or how your experiences are with the Pacifica route. Again, check the description down below as well for more videos like this in the mini series that we're doing covering farm routes. And for now, like the video if you liked it, share with your friends and family, subscribe for more content like this one, and remember, don't be a gonk.